Hey guys, welcome back. Let's talk about everything that I read during the month of March. These are my statistics for the month of March. I read 10 books, and future me can put the page number, average rating, all of that good stuff. So starting off with the third book in the Wheel of Time series, The Dragon Reborn. I did finish it, staying on track with this. At some point, if I want to finish by the end of the year, I'm going to have to double up some books, but so far I have been able to read one per month. It's hard to continue to tell you about the books because you're continuing in the series and anything that I say is going to be a spoiler. So what I like about this book is it starts to introduce the dream world. It starts to basically talk about different dimensions. The Wheel of Time, the way that they understand time and fate and things like that is that everything is woven into the like a pattern, right? And so they talk about everybody's fate being threads in this pattern that's being woven. It talks about the dream world as basically another dimension of the pattern. And so I really like that it's bringing that element to it. The main character in the series, Rand al'Thor, is not in this one as much. He's kind of in the background while you're watching other characters navigate around him. Either they're trying to find him, they're trying to get to him, or they're seeing him in this dream world. And so that part of the writing I thought was very interesting too, because you're still keeping up with your characters even when you're not always following those characters. But anyways, I don't want to give too much more, just in case somebody has not read this series. You need to read this series. I just don't want to give any spoilers, but that was my favorite aspect of the third book, I think, was bringing in the dream world and being able to navigate dreams and communicate to people in dreams and things like that. So 5 stars, of course, and I will be continuing with the next book next month. Then I read Operation Bounce House, and I have to say that I am a little bit disappointed with this book, only because I was kind of expecting more like Dungeon Crawler Carl, and it wasn't, and that's not the book's fault. The book is well written, and for what it is, it's a good book. I gave it 3 stars. This one is, just in case you didn't understand the message behind Dungeon Crawler Carl, if you didn't get what he was writing about, he wanted it to be a little bit more obvious in this book, which again is fine. But for me, it was missing the humor. It was missing the attachment to the characters that you get in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. And I don't know, it just was missing the soul that really is what made the Dungeon Crawler Carl series my favorite reads of last year. I literally made all 7 books my #1 favorite from last year, just because of the heart that's in it. And this was just kind of missing that. Plus, Roger the AI scares me. I think maybe it was meant to be that way, but you're kind of expecting almost like a donut kind of character, like the comedic relief, somebody that you're gonna attach to, and Roger was really not it, and he just kind of creeped me out the whole time. If AI was gonna take over the world and destroy humans, they would act like Roger. So in this one, you have colonists on this planet, and they have made contact with Earth. There's lines of communication open and stuff like that, but there's something called Operation Bounce House that's going on, and basically what that is the people on Earth are being told that the people on this planet are terrorists. They're these awful, horrible people, I would hesitate to even say people, they're not treated like people, and that it is their like civic duty to become these like I can't mechs, I think is the word for it. I can't even remember now. But to like remote operate these like giant robots to kill these people because they're so awful and evil. And meanwhile, they're just people on this planet that are, you know, living their lives. And, you know, there are some other things going on, other aspects to it. But that's basically what it boils down to. And the fact that they're trying to let it be known that, hey, like, we're just regular people. You guys are being lied to. They're not telling you the truth about what's going on. They're showing you things that are not true, not real, using AI. And so, again, it was a fine book, but it was missing that spark for me. That's unfortunate, but luckily I do have a Dungeon Crawler Carl book coming out soon, and I'm super excited for it. Next up, I read Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett, and I actually ended up grabbing one of the signed copies from Books A Million, and I was really excited about that. So this was similar in feel, I guess, to Emily Wilde, as in it's set in 1920s Montreal, I think it was. So the time is there, the historic vibes are there, but it is more set in our real world. There is magic, but the magic, or the magicians or whatever, magic is kept in items, and then those spells can be released. If you know the correct word, anybody can release the magic, but if you aren't like a magician, if you don't have the ability born into you, the spells can go kind of haywire. And in the beginning, Agnes, where she had her cat shelter, it was basically blown apart by these like magicians arguing with each other, or sorcerers, or whatever they're called. Magician, yeah. So magicians basically blew her street up, and so she's got to find another place to rent to run her cat shelter. And like, I felt bad for her because they're still living in the shelter that's basically like open to the elements. There's like no walls anymore, basically, and it's winter time, and so they're like freezing. But at the same time, I did kind of understand the different people being like, well, you have 50 cats. I don't really know if I want to let somebody rent my property with 50 cats. I mean, that's understandable in my opinion. But anyways, she eventually does find a place to stay, but there seems to be something wrong with this place. Like, it's a wonderful spot, a huge shop, like should be way out of her price range, but she gets it like at a bargain price, and the guy is super happy to rent it to her. And so she figures there's something up, and based off of some of the things that are going on, she realizes that there's some kind of like magic either in the building or going on, like somebody, like a previous tenant or somebody had a magic shop or something, because things are happening. And also there are certain people that come and go, and she can tell that they just look a little bit different than everybody else, and they just kind of go into her back room where there's like a trap door that leads down to the basement. And at first she is kind of like, oh, well, maybe they're just cutting through to go out, you know, to the back, you know, through the back door. And then she finally realizes that they're probably going down into like the basement area. And she's like, I'm not going down there. So, you know, I'm not worried about that. But it does come out that there is a magician that's living in the basement. She's renting the shop basically to hide his magic shop. And then his sister comes looking for a magical item and chaos ensues. So she is just trying to run this cat shelter. She's trying to get these cats adopted. She's trying to prevent stray cats from being in the city, period. Like, she has all of these huge plans. And overall, I really, really love this book. I can't remember in the moment if I gave it 4 stars or 5 stars. I think 4 stars, just because I felt like the love interest, the romance, that sort of thing could have just been a little bit more, a little bit raise the bar on that just a little bit. It definitely had the cozy fantasy feels. There is a playing with time element in here that I really enjoyed. I kind of saw it coming. I kind of figured what was going to happen, but I still enjoyed it when it did. So it didn't, it didn't take away from it that it was kind of predictable. If you enjoyed the Emily Wilde series, or if you like a cozy fantasy, something that's kind of in that like historic academia kind of field, then this would definitely be a good book for you to read. I also read Cytonic, which is the 3rd book in the Skyward series. In this one, Spensa is able to go back home, but she is also given the opportunity to explore kind of this in-between place. She ends up given the opportunity to go to where like the Delvers are like from, a place called the Nowhere, and get more information on what they are, why they're attacking people, and potentially like how to stop them and make sure that they can all be safe. And she takes that opportunity and she meets some new friends again along the way. She learns some more things about herself and her abilities, and also the Delvers, this big threat that's kind of been looming and threatening not only her planet and her people, but basically like the whole universe. So again, 5 stars, loved it, and I need to read the last book in the series, so hopefully I can fit that into the next month, even though it's not currently on my TBR for next month. I also read 6 of Crows. This was my Roll for 100 prompt that I pulled, and I just finished this one, and I really wanted to start on book 2 because it leaves you on quite a bit of a cliffhanger. This is your basic heist story. You have your like crew leader, Kaz, who kind of gathers up all of these people that have, special abilities and doing things so that they're not really stealing anything. They're basically going to get a person and bring him back. So there is this new thing that is like a drug that impacts the magic users in this world, and it basically turns them into like superheroes. Like, they, depending on what their magical ability is, like they can fly, they can like kill people, they can make people do what they want them to do, like just different things. Kaz is approached by this person who wants him to go get the scientist that discovered this so that he can bring him back, so he can basically defect and come to their country or whatever. And he is offered a lot of money to go and get him and bring him back. So he gathers up these group of people. There are 6 of them, and they make plans to go and infiltrate this place and get this man and bring him back. And of course, once they get there, pretty much everything ends up going wrong, but they pull it out at the very last second, until right at the end they have a situation that comes up that they can't quite fully get out of unscathed. And so it leaves you with people kind of hanging in the balance, and you don't know what happens to those people. So I definitely do want to get to the second book in the series. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4.5 stars, which I'm obviously rounding up to 5 stars for Goodreads. I can see why this one had such a high rating on Goodreads. It was really, really good. So eventually I will get to the second book in this series too. I also read This Is How You Lose the Time War, and I didn't know what to expect going into this, other than that they are like kind of two rival agents or whatever, and they write letters to each other. And that's basically all that I know coming out of it too, because I could barely understand this. And it's unfortunate because I usually like writing that's, you know, prosaic, it's full of imagery, and it's poetic. This was so poetic to the point where it was almost unreadable. Combine that with the fact that it kind of tells you like little snippets of what the characters are doing. It was almost to the point where you had to ignore the plot. I use that word loosely, and just get to the letters, because obviously them writing back and forth and falling in love with each other is the storyline, but even their letters were not even all that good. I gave this 2 stars just because it would have been a 1-star read for me, other than the fact that I can recognize that the writing was beautiful, but it was just almost unintelligible. And I did guess the little, maybe it was a plot twist, I don't know. I guessed what was gonna happen at the end. It was not for me. So I can't say that I have read it, but I can also say I will be unhauling this at the end of the year, because not for me. Then lastly, I did a St. Patrick's Day vlog where I read only green books. If you would like to see me like doing all of the green things, like buying green foods and wearing green and reading books with green in the title, then you can go and check out that vlog. The first book that I read was The Enchanted Greenhouse. 5 stars. Loved it. I enjoyed this book better than The Spell Shop. It was definitely more my vibe, which is weird because actual like personality wise, I definitely vibe with the main character from the first book more so than the main character from the second book. But the Enchanted Greenhouse thing, the sentient plants, the guy constantly baking like honey cakes for her, and the little like mini dragons. In this one, you are following the librarian who created Kaz, the sentient spider plant from the first book, and that was turned into a statue. You're following her as she suddenly comes to life, has no idea where she is, but she sees these enchanted greenhouses, and she goes in. She meets the gardener and realizes that he has brought her to life to hopefully help him fix the greenhouses because they're like going crazy. And so she is going to try to help him fix the spells on the greenhouses so that they will stop like breaking down and the magic like going crazy in them. So like I said, I definitely enjoyed this one. Then I read Anne of Green Gables. That's the first book in the Anne series, which, by the way, I don't have it right this second, but I just thrifted it today. I thrifted the third book, which is not Anne's House of Dreams. I've never actually looked at the list of all of the books, but apparently this little bind up here has books 1, 2, and 5. Anyways, I did get 3, and then I'll have to look and see the rest of the book so that I can thrift all of them eventually. So in this one, in the beginning, you meet a brother and a sister. They're older. they're realizing that they kind of need a little bit of help on the farm, and so they decide that they are going to adopt a boy to help around the farm and, you know, just help Matthew out. Matthew's the brother. He's getting older, and he could use some help. But when he goes to pick up the little boy, there is no little boy, there's Anne. And at first they consider sending her back, but they just fall in love with her, and as the reader we do too. And then we follow Anne as she grows up, and she is getting into trouble with, you know, her temper and her daydreaming and things like that. And sometimes it's not her fault when, you know, Marilla tells her that the cherry cordial is in a certain spot, but it turns out that it was wine and she gets her best friend drunk. That wasn't really her fault. But you follow her all the way through the time she graduates high school, and she is kind of getting ready to go to college, and that is the point where it leaves us at the end of book 1. And I'm really excited to eventually get to the other stories and read more about Anne and her life, because she is definitely a character that you are just going to fall in love with and want to hear all about her crazy adventures. And then last, I read Green Rider, which is the first book in the Green Rider series. This is one that I grabbed the year before last, I think. I can't remember in this moment which booktuber was talking about this book, and I ended up buying the first 4. I think there's 6 books, and I've bought 4 of them. And it was definitely a good choice because I gave this one 5 stars too. You are following Kerrigan. In the beginning, Kerrigan is leaving school because something has happened. It doesn't tell you right away what it was, but obviously it was not fair for them to suspend her. And she is going to go home and tell her father what happened before the dean gets a chance to tell his side of the story. But while she is on her way home, she sees a Green Rider who is basically a messenger in this world, and he's being chased for this message that he has, and he makes her swear that she will carry the message to the king and give it to him because there is going to, like, he's in danger. And so she has to go through all of these different things. She meets different people. She meets the, I think, Berry sisters. And so they kind of help her out with understanding some of the magic that comes with being a Green Rider. And she's being chased. She's still being chased for this message. And so she's in danger. But she eventually makes it to the king. Once she gets there, the message seems to be like old news that they already know. And so it's kind of like she did all of that for nothing. But they end up discovering a hidden message. And just in the nick of time, they sort of stop, but not totally stop, a plan that was supposed to kill the king. And so at the end, she is left with a decision to make. And we kind of, because the series continues, we kind of know eventually what decision she'll make, but she doesn't come to that decision at the end of this book. So I am interested to see what happens in the rest of the books, and I will be continuing this series at some point. And the last book that I read was Runebreaker, which was our book club book for this month. And I ended up giving it 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I definitely want to read the next book as soon as I finished. I looked up when the next book was coming out, but I couldn't see any information on it. So if you know when the next book might be coming out, definitely let me know. But in this one, you have your main character. Shoot, and now I can't remember the main character's name. But anyways, your main character is human, and she lives in the world with Fae. And humans are like servants, basically. She has this power where she can break runes. So basically, like magic is made into like runes, and she can feel the like threads of it, and she can break it. And she has a sister, and her sister's power is like the opposite. She can enhance the runes or strengthen them. And so they are using that power to steal from the Fae and fund like the hospital, the like orphanage type place, like the shelter where like the homeless humans or whatever go. And they end up kind of getting caught stealing, and so she is captured, and so she's going to be executed. And at the last minute, she breaks the rune that is binding the executioner to the king or whatever. And so the executioner ends up getting them out, and he takes her to his kingdom. And so she's sort of a prisoner there, but not quite a prisoner. Like, he's keeping her there for her own safety, but she wants to go and get her sister. There is something that ties her back to her old kingdom as well. Something that's like magically pulling at her to go back. And her and the guy, they do end up falling in love or whatever. And so she is kind of being pulled in different directions by, you know, all of these people. She's also trying to go back and get her sister. And there's kind of some other political kind of things going on at the same time. So it definitely leaves you on a cliffhanger, and I'm interested to see what happens in the next book whenever it does come out. So I started several new series this month, it seems like. So anyways, that is the 10 books that I read this month. Wow. There you go. The 10 books that I read this month. Now, I would love to read 10 or more books in April. I already recorded I recorded half of my roll for TBR. So I do have to finish filming that video, and then hopefully it will be out soon after this one. And then I can start reading for the Magical Readathon. So hopefully I will see you in that video or another one soon. Bye, guys.